Gomu, and we're here on the platform, and this edition is the platform Nigeria, the platform NG 35.0, talking about entrepreneurship, building a business from scratch. And our next speaker is no one else but Mr. MAI ATAFO. Yeah. If you scream loud enough, you might get a free outfit. No, it doesn't work that way. He's a multi-award-winning fashion designer, bespoke tailor, and charismatic businessman. He's the founder and creative director of the iconic fashion brand ATAFO. A multi-hyphenate, Mr. MAI ATAFO's skills go far beyond design, having built an illustrious career working as the head of channels at Spice TV, strategy director at advertising agency The Firehouse, and fashion editor of Genevieve magazine. ATAFO chaired the Central Working Committee of the Future Award Africa for 6 years before taking up a leadership role at the Advisory Council. MAI gained formal training at the prestigious Istituto di Moda Borgo in Milan, Italy, and he's a regular speaker at the Harvard Business School Africa Business Conference, and has also had his garments showcased at the Victoria and Albert Museum, Brooklyn Museum. Yes, he is a firm believer in empowering the next generation of creatives and pays it forward through a free fashion mentorship initiative called Fashion Conversations, which gives young designers the knowledge of the fashion industry and the tools to start their own businesses. Please welcome with me with a round of applause, an outfit-winning round of applause, Mr. MAI ATAFO.
Thank you very much. Thank you for the applause. Sometimes when they read that profile, you're wondering if it's you or someone else. I never take stock of my bus stops in my journey. I just keep journeying on. I do not stop to look back a lot of times. I think the journey is very important. And the journey never has a final destination. But you just keep going. Today, I decided to take stock. I stopped and looked back for a minute. That's because I am here today on the platform. I've one that has heard, watched, and listened to the platform. And when Pastor Kojo called me and said he wanted me to be on this platform, I was moved. Because growing up, you always hear the platform, hear it on radio. You know, you hear that jingle, the platform. Then you hear that voice that goes, it's the platform, the annual show about the Covenant Christian Country, Speaking is so and so and so and so, MD, managing director of the that. Also speaking is internationally acclaimed, that. The founder of this. Will be speaking at the platform. Do not forget, there will also be this. I'm like, Jesus Christ. Am I one of those people now? I mean, am I one of those guys? Because when they call their CVs, I'm like, Baba Godwin. Apparently, I am one. So that was my stop and look back moment today. And I always tell people when you get awards and recognition, what that means is a setup. Because they've read everything you have done to this point. So when they call you again, they have to read something new. Because if they keep reading the things of the past, like Funke said, you will be in the past, you know. But to the reason why we're here, starting the business, building your business from scratch. I'm going to be very, very practical. I'm not very good at speaking with strategic talks. I'm very, very practical in the way that I talk. Because I'm not a very big reader. I'm a very good observer. So when people have read books for businesses and how to build businesses, I'm not one of those that have read a lot of those books. I do not have an MBA. But I learn from practicing and getting involved in things. And I think that's one of the best ways to learn. So my journey is taking me from being a student in the university, making a 2-1, graduating in agric economics, and going to study, doing a master's in information systems and technology, only to end up in British American Tobacco and the marketing department. So it doesn't stack up, right? I worked in the marketing, British American Tobacco for 4 years and a little bit, and I moved to Diageo, where I also worked in marketing for about 4 years plus, before I decided to quit to be, like I like to say, a full-time tailor. The experience from those places is very, very key. Now, I tell people wherever you are at all, no matter what you're doing, if you give your 100%, you will learn something. And sometimes it's one thing that you learn that you may use to start or build your business. So while you look at your boss and say, I want to be like him, figure out what he has done to be who he is today. I say, do not copy the execution, copy the principle. So we look at somebody and we like the way he's dressing. Then we copy the dressing. But you see, you are only one step behind that person because you have copied what he is today. What about what he is tomorrow? Because he is not, if you're a good professional, you're not what you are yesterday. You're not what you are today. You're building for what you'll be tomorrow. So when you copy someone, you're copying the person's past. And if you're copying in the past, you can never progress to the future. That means you're already obsolete. Right? So it's very important. So that's what built me. And I woke up one day, went to work. I started my business. I started fashion while I was still working. Okay? I did it for 3 years while I was working. And that's the key thing. And people tell me, oh, when do you know is the right time to stop? I'm like, I do not know when is the right time to stop, to move from corporate to your business. Because the day I quit my job, I didn't know I was quitting my job that day. I went into work. And I just knew, you know, I think it's about time. Right? But I worked 3 years. So I went to my 9 to 5. I got there as early as 8 o'clock every day. Left maybe like 6 or 7 o'clock, then go to my factory somewhere in Borno Road in Yaba, and I'm there till 1 a.m., 2 a.m., and I go back home and my life continues again. But you see, at that point in time, I loved what I was doing, so it didn't feel like work. So when people are going like you're working too hard, I'm like, I do not understand what you're saying. That's because, you know, one thing that Funke said today, I was passionate, very passionate about what I was doing. And I loved it. But that's how I lived and that's how I started it. Now, again, we're trying to tell you what you should do building your business from scratch. Many of these things is not what I've read, it's what I've experienced. So if I was to turn back the hands of time, what will I do differently to get it correct, right? There's this thing we always tell people. Have a business plan when you want to start a business. That thing is always a long thing. And many of you hate hearing that thing. Okay, I will teach you something practical today, right? That may help you, you know, small in that thing. But again, if you want to start a business, why do you want to start a business? Why? Why do you want to be an entrepreneur? Are you starting a business because you want to make money? It's not a bad thing at all. If you want to just make money, it's great because you're keeping your eyes on the number. You want to start a business because you are passionate about that particular thing, right? It's good to be passionate. But if you're not making money out of your passion, the only thing that you'll be blessed with is poverty. And we don't want that for anyone, okay? So money is important. But you have to think of why you want to be an entrepreneur. It's very important. Because people are like, I like to do this. But if you keep liking it, you're not making money from it, it's going to set you back. So think about that clearly. I think making money in anything that you do is very important. I don't say be greedy. But I think making money is very important. Whilst you are doing what you love or what you want to do, in there, you most likely will find your purpose. Right? If I was working in my job in marketing, I don't think I'll be able to talk to this number of people to set an impression on them. Okay? And while I was working in marketing, I always tried to brag differently that, one of the boys that I recruited then, who was a brand executive with me, he grew up to be marketing director in Coca-Cola at a point in time. Then he went up to the head office in Atlanta to be in charge of fruits. He calls me boss till today. Meanwhile, I'm a tailor. And he's the top of his marketing game. It doesn't stack up, does it? Because where we live in Nigeria, the guy is the one with the big title. The tailor is the other guy. The guy that I studied innovation with in Diageo, sitting next to each other, currently he is the managing director for Pernod Ricard, which is the most luxury alcoholic beverage company in the world. He is the managing director, not marketing, managing director for Africa, based in Johannesburg. Right? That's my guy. So that's to give you the level that I could have been or surpassed if I continued in my career path. Do I regret it? No, I do not. Am I happy? Very happy. Right? Because life has taught me something. When you're working for yourself and you're making some kind of money, right? What you're doing when we are working and making money is that we're trying to buy our life back from society. That's what you're doing when you're making money. I'll make it easier for you. When you go on leave, right? You're not working. Probably travel to a nice destination. You're living a good life. You're not doing anything for that point. So work is on pause, and you are enjoying life. But you paid for the holiday. So you just bought back that 2 weeks leave from life. How will it feel if you can buy back 10 years of your life from the world? You have made enough money, I don't have to work for 10 years. For me, that's the reason why we work. So you can buy back your life. Sometimes you buy it back in minutes, in hours, in days, in months. But it's key that you do that. So I digress a little bit. So let's go to the key thing. Starting differently, I'll start with a business plan. From scratch, have a business plan, okay? But let me make it easy for you. So for those of you, pen, paper, calculator, very, very important. I will run through this very, very fast, but you need to grab it, okay? Your pen, your paper, and your calculator. Let's do this real quick. This is your business plan, okay? There was a football TV reality show in Nigeria once done by somebody. And the registration fee to come on this show was 3,000 naira, okay? You buy the form for 3,000 naira. Then you get a chance to come on the show. A chance to come on the show, so it wasn't guaranteed. At the end of 4 weeks, right, 30,000 Nigerians had registered for a chance to get on the show. So at the end of 4 weeks, how much was made? Mathematicians here. What? 90 million is the correct answer. It sounds like it's not correct. Because I said 3,000 naira, Biri, 30,000 people. That gives you 90 million naira. So when I heard that, I flipped it around and said, okay, as a fashion designer, what can I make and sell and make 3,000 naira profit and be able to sell 30,000 units of that thing? Then I'll make 90 million naira. Very simple calculation. I started thinking, okay, if I have to sell 30,000 units, how many do I have to sell in a week? So you have to divide 30,000 by 52. Then when you look at that number, you're thinking, I can't actually sell that in a week. Then you know what? Flip the numbers around. What I did was that, okay, if I make 30,000 naira and sell to 3,000 people, I can make 90 million naira. What product can I do? And I looked at the product I was doing at the point in time. Trouser, shirt, dress. Then it hit me. Suits. People pay a premium for suits. Then my suit was like, 60,000 naira. And I was making 30K. Now the suit is very bullish in price. But Pastor Podro can testify to that. I've sent him invoice many times. So I decided to go and start making suits. And this goes back to what Funke was saying. You should be flexible in your business ideas. Because if I said I was to be a shirt designer, I want to go and make suits. Now, what led me there was my thinking. So my business plan was now start making suits so you can sell suits, make 30,000 naira profit, and sell to 3,000 people. That will make me 90 million naira. Now I realized 3,000 suits is still a lot of suits in a year. Why am I pursuing 90 million naira? What about 20 million naira? So bring down the number of suits you want to make. Bring down your profit a little bit. So 20,000 naira, and I want to sell that to 1,000 people. That's 20 million naira. If it's your first year, bring it even down more, because most businesses don't break even, as they say, in the first 4 years. But Africans, we scatter that table. We start making profit even the first year. So that's it. So once you have that thing done, your question is now, how do I produce that thing? And who do I sell it to? And Funke talked about your target audience. Now, who are these people? And what is this product? Do you know that's your business plan? Now, how you do that is not the full detail of your business plan. And guess what? For almost every entrepreneur, the how is what they do not know. That's where the work starts. I want to be a fashion designer. I want to make clothes. Tick. I want to sell clothes to people. Tick. I want to sell this number of pieces. Tick. Now, how do you start? You start researching. So if you think that people start business and they know everything, how do you know the best location to put your restaurant? How do you know the people to target for events? Now you have to start learning. It goes back to something I think I said earlier. If you do not learn, you're only going to fail. So you have to start learning how to do this. But that's pretty much your business plan. So that is how you start from scratch. Think of the product. And again, your first year can be 1 million naira profit. Then the next year you review to go to 2, then 3, then 10. Then you get to 1 billion. Then you can join Davido. 30 billion gang. You know what I mean? But that's how it starts, and that's how I've seen it. And I think it's very important. And think about it this way, starting from scratch. You can't be everything to everybody. Try to be something, right? To everybody. And when I say something to everybody, it doesn't mean that everybody will buy your something. It just means that you should know me for this thing. And that's how business starts. So you open a restaurant, you can't be Mr. Big / RSVP / Black Bell all together because you want to make everything everyone can eat. Start with something. Okay? Be something to everybody. And that's a good way to start business. And I think it's very important. And just check my notes. I want to get the key points so I don't forget it. I remember starting from scratch. Starting from scratch, one thing that's very, very important is we mix these things up. There's your product and there's your brand. They are two different things, right? Now, if I'm drinking this water here, I'm drinking water. It's a product. If I'm drinking it from that bottle, I'm drinking Nestle water. That is now a brand. But you see, your product has to be 100% certified. Excellent. You cannot be sewing clothes and sewing it for Nigerians, but you want to make dollar. You know that the zip is not straight. But if the customer does not know, you will give them. Right? And she will pay you, and you take the money and put it in your pocket. So you've made money, right? But you see what you have done? You've actually stopped yourself from making more money. You know how? Because the customer is going to wear it. And people are going to see the customer and say, I like the dress, but guess what? The zip is bent. So you do not get a call to make another dress. So you see how these things can affect you. So your product has to be great. All right? Then your brand is the next thing. I have this product, but you see, how do I present it to people to see? Okay? How do I package it? If you came into my office today, how do I welcome you? That's part of your brand. Because people think branding is a logo and the color and the sign. No. If you came into my studio today and said, hi, good morning, sir. How are you doing? Please have a seat. What would you like? Tea, coffee? What do you want to do today? Okay, let me get the consultant for you. Consultant comes looking really, really nice, speaking to you nice. That's all part of your brand. It is what they say about you when you're not in the room. So it's a lot more than the nice logo, the lovely font, your Instagram page. It's a lot more than that. Okay? And I always look at my brand as a human being. That's how I look at my brand. So if I say, this is a brand, all right? This is not me. I work for the brand. I work on the product for the brand, okay? So now there are three different things here: product, me, and brand, right? If somebody comes and engages with the brand, what does the brand tell them? So I am looking for the MTN office. Oh, it's in Falomo. That's where the brand lives. That's the house for the brand. How do you know it? It's a big story building, white, and there's yellow somewhere. You are describing what? The brand, not the service, not even the phone. There's no call right now. When you hear Hilton, you think of a hotel. It has to be one of the top ones because Hilton is like this, that. You call another hotel, maybe an inn. You say, oh, it's nice, but it's the smaller one. But you see, you are describing something. How would you describe your brand? I call my brand a human being. I want to know the way my brand speaks, how it feels, how it looks. So it's very important. Last year, I did one of the arguably the biggest fashion show on the continent. It was in a hotel. I had 800 people sitting front row exclusively. There was no second row because everyone was important at the show. It had 8 lanes. We showcased 87 pieces, used 15 models. That wasn't me. That was my brand. ATAFO put on the show. I served under ATAFO to deliver that show. So these are the things that I look at when I'm starting from scratch. Okay? I think about brand. Why am I doing this thing? What is the product? Is the product excellent? Am I building a brand? Because you see, you get a second chance at building the product, but not a second chance at building a brand. The brand is a continuous journey. So today I can wake up and decide I want to make kids clothing. I'm going to make kids clothing, but under ATAFO. And someone say, oh, if you can make suits this good, then you can make kids clothes that good. It's the integrity of the brand now that is now falling on top of the other things you're doing. I can even decide to venture into actually making paint. Right? Because of what the brand can do. It's actually associated with quality and craftsmanship, so you know it can do this. Right? So you have to think about that and that. And when you start as a business person, you do not know this and you cannot know this. So it's things you have to develop yourself in. You have to read. Unlike me, you have to read and research. YouTube is my friend. I like to listen rather than actually put my eyes and read things. So it's very important. So we have to keep learning. We've talked about the business plan and how the business plan works. And one thing again, if you're starting the business, and we are very short-sighted about this when I started my business, we always start like we're trying to do it for here. Trying to do it for your streets, or for your states, or for your country. Think you're trying to do it for the world. Think your product is global. Now, with technology, it is very possible. Now, if your product can even cross the oceans and the seas and the rivers, let your brand be able to cross. So my products are not physically available in where my name has gone. You can't get my suit in Brooklyn Museum, or can you get it in the Victoria and Albert Museum, or even Harvard Business School that I've spoken 3 times. But you see, the brand name is there. So when I go there with a product tomorrow, there's something that can connect. But if you have products that can move, think global. I know friends of mine that are doing business in Nigeria, and their customers are not even Nigerians in Nigeria. Just exporting and just making money in dollars. At the exchange rate that is going right now, that's a dream for everybody. So always think global. Your product has no standard. There's only one standard, and the standard is international standard. I'd run my business for 5 years. After 5 years, I went to school to go and learn pattern making for suits. I was a household name here. When I got to school in Milan, I saw people in my class that were Nigerians. They're looking at me like, what are you doing here? I'm like, I want to be the best. I brought in a master tailor who trained in Savile Row for 35 years to come and train me in Nigeria, not once, but twice. Cost me a lot of money because I want to be better than the guys in Savile Row. Yes, you guys own the suit, but I want to make it better than you do make it. And I can, because it's craftsmanship. I've got the hands. All right? So for me, it's important. I don't see myself as a local player, as a Nigerian player. I don't see myself as an African designer. I see myself as a designer of African descent. Thank you very much, and that's my time.